order. The time is 6 p.m. and a quorum is present. Member Benneman is absent, and we're going to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance led by Valerie, our elementary school principal. Thank you. And we have no action to report out of closed session. For the approval of the agenda, additions, deletions, and corrections, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made, and a second?
I'll second.
And is there any discussion? Being none, let's vote. Member Benneman is absent. Member Caputo?
Aye.
Member Kolb Sr. and Member Worden?
Aye.
Member Stroh votes aye. Recognition and presentations, a report on summer school.
Good evening, everyone. I will be giving just a little overview here on summer school. We were able to have summer school here on various campuses on our school sites, Valley Center High School, primary school. It's emerging is really important for them. So I think that that's really good. And then as we move through, the program instruction, the classes are smaller and they're tailored so that the teachers can work with the students to be able to really focus on their learning gaps that the students have. The direct instruction that definitely takes place, but there's also a lot of fun activities that the kids are involved with, and some of those activities is definitely incorporating some of their lessons learned, so that they can really apply that to real life experiences, which is great for them. It does definitely build, their proficiency, for the students, and the program also focuses on boosting their confidence, which I think is one of the major things that we see with our kids that attend summer school. I know even for our high school students, it's being able to focus on particular issues that they have or struggles that they have in a smaller environment provides that service that definitely gives them the confidence and positive attitude towards learning that we hope comes into the following school year. And again, this is a team that participated in our summer school, and they served grades 1 through 5. We served 135 students. And I know both Mr. McCowan and the whole cabinet actually was on the different school sites being able to observe the work that was being done, and just really seeing our students participate in engaging activities that were enriching to their learning environment. And you can see some of the activities that some of the kids do. They had fun, while learning, and I think that that's something that we are always trying to get them to translate through the school year. And then for our grades 6 through 8, we served 82 students, and these students were held here on the high school campus. For some of our students, this is the first time they have come onto the high school campus, so that in itself is a treat. We also have vending machines, and that's huge. So that's a big treat. But so I think again it goes back to they're starting to get desensitized to some of where they're coming up from, and they feel that comfort and that sense of belonging, which I think is really important for our kids. And here you can see some middle school students just building some models and solving some problems and with some of the variety of ways of the stuff that they're doing. On to our secondary academic enrichment program, which is our grades 9 through 12 held here on this campus. We offered a variety of courses that were held for credit recovery. We had 25 students that participated in our ag program, our internship program, which was very awesome that Ms. Bauer and Mr. Kirk do. But through our credit recovery program, our students are able to work on courses that they're credit deficient in to put them back on track for graduation. And that's always our goal. We had students participating here, not only high school students, but OG students, as well as VC prep students were part of our credit recovery program here on this campus. And then just as we look at some of the courses that were, they used Ingenuity, which is our online platform that we use. We had credentialed teachers in the classrooms with the students. We used some of the programs that we have like Limelight to make sure that their programs are locked down so that they can just focus on the courses and really working on them doing the work, but also getting the individualized help that they needed to be able to complete their courses, but also learn the skills, which will help them in this upcoming school year, which is really important to us, that they're able to move on from there.
And again, as we look through our program here, these are some of our initial results that we have with our completion rates for students that took some of these courses, ranging from 83% to 100%, depending upon the different subject areas. Just about every student that participated in the summer school program completed at least one course. And the rates of some of the students that show that didn't complete, it may be their second course because they are able to complete one course and move on to another course during that time. And we did have some students that finished 3 courses, which is really good. And we're able to monitor when the students are working, so we can see the amount of time that's put in, and we know that it's equal to how it should be, and they're just not like looking up answers or doing those things, because all students have to take their exams here on site and proctored by a teacher.
No, can I just ask a quick question? So the kids that didn't finish a course because it was their second or third course, is there a chance for them to come back and finish that up when the school year starts, or is that lost?
So we have, so typically I wouldn't put somebody in if they didn't have enough time to finish a course. With some of these students that didn't finish the course, it's because the teacher that they were working with is also usually a 7th period teacher, and they were really working with that student to try to get them ahead. So as a site, we would say no, if you're not done, you're not done, but a teacher can make that exception if they have been working with that student. So we would take a look at it that way, because it's somebody that has already completed their initial course, or if it's somebody with an IEP that may need more time.
So we'll individualize.
Absolutely. And so, as you can see, like just like with our completion rates, students were able to finish. I think for me, one of the biggest things, math. We know that's an area that that we struggle in as a district, and I know just with a particular student, and that's the hard part as we're doing numbers, right? But I could sit and tell you a bunch of stories that to me are much more engaging than taking a look at this. But just the fact that he was able to go to a math class and talk to the math teacher and convey his fear of math and complete a course and say, I did it, is just amazing. And I think for me, that's what keeps me coming back and keeps me doing summer school, is because you're able to see those kids that struggle feel that sense of accomplishment. So I think that, looking at numbers is great, but when you see the kids, it's priceless, right? Like a typical class. And so you're not able to see the teacher walking around and working with the students, or, being able to see the small groups that are pulled in and the kids working together, but that's usually what happens. And we follow the same rules that we would during the school year of no phones, and, they leave their phones if they use the restroom. So all of that structure is still implemented, but I think it's a smaller environment where they can get more of the individualized help, which is really important for these particular students. It really helps to motivate them and to encourage them to continue on. They're told, like, you are behind, or you're at where you need to be to complete this course, and so they're constantly reminded. And teachers call parents, I call parents if they're not on track, so that we're all clear from the beginning, because we just have a small window that we have to be working, and they have to be doing some of this stuff at home, otherwise it won't get done. And so here again is just some of our, just an overview. We supported 205 students, 25 of those being in our ag internship program. And from those kids, they completed 189 semester courses from core classes. What that means for them is that it closes where they started off credit deficient. It closes that gap for them, and that's really important, because For kids who want to remain at the high school or have to go to OG, that's just less courses that they need to take to be able to come back. And so I think when you're starting to work with kids and giving them that hope and seeing that their work is getting them somewhere, it's just, it gives them hope, and it's just a good feeling for them as well, and they have that sense of accomplishment, right? So, I think for us, that was, our summer school program, it was, in my opinion, very successful, and with a number of students that we were able to get through our preschool kids all the way through our seniors, and, the staff that we have working here is just great in working individually with the students. And again, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the board and to thank you guys for the opportunity to provide our students with this service and your continued guidance and support in offering our kids what they need to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I just would like to say, Crystal Crib, this was such a heartfelt, fabulous representation of what your summer school for our students was about. And I would say board member Jerry Fenton and I years ago went to at CSBA. It was on summer school and closing the gap and doing exactly what you expressed happened, and heartfelt, and just that math student and feeling, getting confidence and gaining confidence and narrowing the gap. That's what it's about. And thank you, and thank the educators that were there supporting these students. That is wonderful, and that was a desire a long time ago that we wanted to raise that bar, and thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Appreciate it.
To all.
If I can jump in real quick, one of the things with summer school that you really brought up that, when I was younger, summer school was a punishment, but to hear that it keeps them engaged in the retention part of the education is a really positive spin to why we should allow students to do that and encourage them to, so thank you.
And I'd like to just give a few thank yous out. Is the sound different tonight? Because I felt like somebody else's voice is talking. But really, the summer school is a team effort, but from everything from our teachers recommending the students, to our counselors recommending the students, to our principals at each site that work with making sure their students get enrolled, to our teachers that teach at summer school, but especially to our two administrators, Norma Creel and Stephanie McIntyre. They work a 210-day calendar, and then I think it's summer school almost 18 days with the work day and everything, so that bumps it up to 228 days. That's a long work year, and just appreciate you being dedicated, and Stephanie for the work that you guys did with our students over the summer. Great job. Okay, so I've got a short little presentation on math teaching this year.
Is there no question?
I think there was a little confusion because this is, and we put it on the wrong. Normally my stuff all comes under superintendent,
Okay,
but because it's a presentation that I'm giving, it came here.
No,
So-
yours under presentation, I thought.
No, it threw me off. So, Mrs. Creel mentioned that our, math is really difficult for our students in our district, and we've recognized this for several years. We've recognized that we're not quite getting the learning gains that we would expect, and the learning gains that I think our teachers work hard to get from our students, or the results that they work hard for. So this year, past year, we went through and met up with a group. We started to look at our K-8 curriculum, and that's been part of the board presentations for the last year. And then we wanted to not only look at the curriculum, but also really wanted to take a deep dive into the idea that our kids don't or have not been able to pick up the math facts. And the idea that when you pick up the math facts, math will come easier to you because it's not an area that you're having to work on because you have repetitive recall of that. So we took a look at a couple different things, and we want to kind of come back in and let you get an idea of what our math instruction will look like this year. And I'm controlling two. So there's kind of three areas that we're looking at. We have the iReady classroom curriculum, which is a curriculum that was chosen. And if you remember, we had about, I don't know the exact number of teachers, 18 or so that piloted the math program. We piloted 2. We looked at a total of about 8, narrowed it down to iReady. Several things that really stuck out was that the supplemental material that comes with iReady was going to fill the needs that we were using outside supplemental stuff for before, so it's all one package. Teachers felt it was very easy for them to get to the different pieces and very easy for them to use the book, and that way we would, obviously get more out of it. But also that the parent support parts were also easy for the parents to use, and most importantly, it was easy for the students to follow. We also got together, not just with that group, but with grade level leads all the way up through high school. We talked about what are the main gaps that we're seeing in the mathematics that our students are learning or not learning in this case, and how can we address those. And one of the major things that stuck out was the math fluency and the lack of that math fluency. That's one of the reasons that why, along with the iReady class, we will have a little portion of the math class, usually about 15 minutes a day, that's going to concentrate on the math fact fluency lab, and we'll go into that a little bit more later. And then also our teachers have the ability to use some of the supplemental math games that can make some of the math stuff fun. So real quickly, the iReady math, we kind of went through why we picked this one. One was because of the connection, prior learning, and the introduction to new lessons, how they blend that together. I'm not going to read through the whole slide up here, but it ended up that as we looked at this, we really felt that this was going to be the flow that would match what our students need. The other thing that we wanted to talk about was one of the major concerns of the board, and I think it was a great concern, and that was how much training we're going to have, because we can buy the best materials we want, but if we don't train teachers on how to use it, and administrators for that fact, then it's not going to be utilized. So here's some dates, just to kind of summarize that. We had an early training date in June, that was June 14th. We have a second training in August 19th, where the teachers will spend about a 6-hour day. They'll go through the teacher materials and exactly how to set up and run the lessons. I think when it's all said and done, we'll have about 90% of our teachers that were able to make those 2 days, and we'll pick up the other 10% as we get back with a 2-hour workshop. And then the other thing we have going on this year is our ERD days are going to also be centered around the math curriculum, and iReady will send trainers out so that we'll be trained as the year goes on with that. And then the third piece of that training is in the 5 years that we have the contract with them, we'll have training dates set up in each of those 5 days. So if we bring new staff on, or if our continuing staff wants to brush up on the materials, they'll have that opportunity. The other training we did just the other day was a administrative training where we all went to P17 and we looked at all the different materials, and they showed us administrators how we can help the teachers to be able to find everything they need. So we're really making a huge attempt to make sure that we get this kicked off with complete buy-in from everybody and excitement. I would tell you I was at the training on the 14th of June, and I think everybody would kind of agree it was one of the most upbeat, fun trainings where teachers were just loving the new material. I think there's a lot of frustration, K-8, or in this case it's first grade through 8, with our older curriculum and it just not meeting the needs and the needs of the teacher to be able to teach. So there's a lot of excitement around the new curriculum. The next thing is the Math Lab. The Math Lab is a online program that was developed by a 5th grade teacher, and this teacher recognized that their students were not up to the math facts that they were hoping for them to get. So what this does is and I don't want to use, I don't mind using the word, the drill and kill type idea of picking up your mathematic facts, but it does repetitious training and the consistent training of those math facts at grade level, and then it'll move a student above or below grade level depending on what math facts he or she may need to try to get into memory. And the idea would be here is that through those practices that you get better and better with your multiplication, subtraction, addition, and division. Good. Next slide here, this is what one of the pages in the Math Facts Lab might look like. It shows different ways that the student can do their addition or subtraction. So this is the lower grades, and I'll kind of show what that means. If you were to hit the button on one of the 10 frames up there, it may show something like this where it's 10 plus and you see the 10 frame filled out. The student then just has to realize to get to 13, how many more of those boxes do I need to fill in on the right hand side? They fill in 3 and then they got their answer. And you can see how this will be flipped to be able to do subtraction. This one here would be like the multiplication division one, real similar. If you hit dice, they would use dice to help you see that if you had a set of 5 with 3 showing and a set of 3 with 3 showings, that would be 8, and if you times it by the 3 that are there, then you would get 24, or you could count each one of those dice to get to the 24. These are ones that are a little bit more advanced, and you can see here you got 6 times 25. If you look at 6 different bundles of 25, or look at 6 different quarters of 25 cents each, you'll be able to figure out that that's $150 or about 50. Routines and games, the idea that as they do some of these with the routines and games, it just kind of builds that whole idea of reinforcing the skills, build confidence, develop their fluency, retain knowledge, and you can read through there. But number 8 is probably one of the most important. It encourages continued practice. And I think we all know it doesn't matter what you're doing, if you're playing the trumpet, or if you're playing football, or if you're going to your math class. So the more repetitions you get, the better you're going to get at it. So now, what I want to do is I'm going to try to play a game with you guys. I don't like to play games with the board very often, but here we go. You're going to take out your number sense. Here, yeah, kind of like bingo, 1 through 100. Each one has one on the bottom there. And we're going to play a game similar to what our students would do. So, has everybody got that one? Mark, I think you got one too. You didn't have one, Mark?
No.
Anybody else want a game card? You guys good? Okay. So, let's go back one. The game, this would be like a grade 1-2 example. When you see how much math, you see the math skills they pick up here, you'll see how can you find one in learning. So, I want you to just look at that and randomly take a guess. How many noodles do you think is in that vase? And just go ahead and write it somewhere on that number line. Okay? I don't see participation here in engagement. Write a number.
Is there a prize?
You could certainly. Yes, I've got a bottle of water for whoever gets this right. So, in the classroom, you would give clues out, and the kids would have to use this number line to figure out the clues. And normally you would give one clue at a time, and you might even explain that clue out. In fact, you would. But for our intents and purposes, I'm going to give you all 5 clues. So, clue number 1, you're going to take your picture here, and however you want to mark this. The answer is greater than 20 and less than 60. So somehow on your number chart, signify that it's going to be less than 20, greater than 20, and less than 60. Has everybody got that? Number 2, the answer is part of this pattern, 21, 23, and 25. Can anybody tell me what that pattern is? It's plus 2. What's another way to look at that pattern? What else does that pattern indicate to you? Okay, I'll give you guys there you go, odd numbers. So we're looking at an odd number patterns, and there's going to be a 2 pattern. The next clue, number 3, the answer does not include any of these digits, 1, 5, and 7. So I would take the digits that you know are still alive, and I would mark out any digit that has a 1, a 5, or a 7. Oh, hey, that's a good start. Yeah. Number 4, the answer is not 29 or a number that is 10 more than 29. So obviously we're learning a skill here, right? An addition fact. The next clue, the answer is not 43. Good try, Julie. Sorry. It is not 43 or 10 less than 43. So, does anybody have a clue? What number is left that fits all 3 clues?
I have a guess.
Okay, let's hear it.
32.
32. So does that fit the 21, 23, 25, 5? Okay. You gotta look at every clue. And the answer did not, there was no answer key with this. But I'll,
49.
no, 49 is less than 30, or 10 more than 39. or 29, it was 29, so it was 39.
39.
Yes.
39?
No, Mark just about had it.
Okay.
No, I just said, I had it backwards for clue two. It is part of the pattern.
Yes.
That's what I need to fix, okay? I'm gonna rework this.
59? Why is 49 not right?
I'm gonna guess 33.
33. Answer is 23.
That's what I meant.
Great, that's what you had. Okay.
I will admit I looked at the answer before I went to problem out. But you can see how a group of first and second graders would just erupt in laughter and joy at whether they got that number right or not. The other piece of this, if we look at it though, they've learned quite a few different things as they've done this problem. They've learned obviously what does a number line look like, and the fact that this number line would be right from 21 to 59. They look at the idea that it's a 21, 23, 25, which one person recognized by twos, another person recognizes odd numbers, so you can have a conversation about counting by twos, you can have a conversation about the difference between odd and even numbers. You get down to clue 3, and it's, that clue really, I don't know how much math knowledge it takes to cross out anything with a 1, 5, or a 7, but you can always, do a little piece there. It's a little bit of a math skill, especially if you're a first grader or second grader. And then the last one, you're taking 29 and half to think, okay, what is 10 more than 29? What's 10 less than, what was the other one, 43? So you can see where there's several different functions that the students are doing to solve this number. And this is for first and second grader. So, Mark, do you not buy into our answer?
I'll be honest, I'm just trying to understand why it's not 33. So I'm gonna play the student. Number 5.
Yeah, so 33 is crossed out as 43 minus 10. So this is similar to the game, Are You Smarter Than a First Grader? Thank you for allowing me a little entertainment during the meeting. And so this would be something that you might use just to kind of get kids warmed up in the math and get rolling with it. The last thing I wanted to show here, because one of the things that will end up during this time is monitoring your grade level math facts. So for instance, in the 3rd grade, you need to know your multiplications within 100. So 10 times 10 all the way to 0 times 0. So if we're constantly throughout the semester or the year of their 3rd grade, making sure that as they start to conquer these different multiplication facts that they get them by repetition, then these are the kind of tests that we'd be looking at to check for that understanding. Mainly because one of the things we find is students don't know those simple math facts. So then when you start to conquer a problem, that we're trying to show a procedure in a math problem, but you still are fighting yourself about what is 3 times 5. You're using that brain energy to try to figure out 3 times 5 instead of trying to figure out what the math procedure we're doing. So, in fact, that's exactly what this says. When students develop fact fluency, they free up their working memory to retrieve math facts with little effort, which allows them to devote more time to advanced problem solving and learning skills. So, a lot of times we've always talked about how, years ago, that idea of having your math facts off the top of your head or top of your, it was like, well, you don't really, you need those. Because it'll just help the students to understand math better and build their confidence in it. So we are very excited about this new math program. We'll be rolling it out, of course, on the first day, on the 22nd, coming up here. And we'll be reporting back to you guys and let you know how the progress is made. I do want to thank the board once again. I know it was a large investment to go after a new math curriculum, but I think it was one of the things that our students really needed, and I appreciate you for letting us go that direction.
I want to thank the team for taking the time to vet that and do that, because that is huge, such a goal for our district. And moving on, have we received any requests to address the board?
We have not.
We have not. Being none, we will move on to our consent agenda. And do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion made. And a second?
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion? Being none, let's vote. Member Benjamin is absent. Member Caputo?
Aye.
Member Cole Senior?
Aye.
Member Worthy?
Aye.
And Member Stroh votes aye. Superintendent's report.
All right, I guess I'm back up. All right, well, we did the signing of our MOU. You guys as a board approved it at our last meeting, and we really enjoyed having our board members down at this little ceremony that we did down on Rincon. Once again, this is an MOU with the Sovereign Tribal Government of Rincon. In the picture, we have Senator Jones, Bo Mazzetti, myself, and then our state superintendent, Mr. Thurman. One of the things that we are charged with now that we signed this memorandum is we really are working with parts of the Tribal Council of Rincon to develop a attendance program, incentive program, working to that into an academic incentive program, and at the same time we've been reaching out to our other tribal councils so that we can do a real similar MOU and hopefully get it to where we can share a lot of the information around grades, attendance, discipline issues, suspensions, etc., with our tribal councils and work together with them and our ed centers and the tribes to be able to provide better educational services for our students. Next, we have maintenance and operations preparing for the new year. Usually we have a big list and we go through all the different things that are done, but they are still being done as we speak. And so we just kind of wanted to highlight, and in fact, today you're going to see us highlight a lot of our, what we call our student workers who work the summertime as a job through the school district. And so, first we'll start out with a couple of things here. We put in some turf up the upper L, which is where the Boys and Girls Club uses it. You can see there, I think that's the elementary lot where we've done some asphalt work. I would tell you as a board, and I know that one of the things on our bond is a lot of asphalt work around the district, but asphalt within Valley Center seems to crack more than any other place I've ever seen. And so for us to keep up with resurfacing that, if we can come back through and really put a solid, cover of new asphalt over that, I think we'll get years out of that. Down below, we have some flooring changes. We've gone to more of these tiles that are, like a 2x2 tile that's more of a rubber flooring, and it really seems to hold up a lot better than the carpet, and I think a lot of the teachers really enjoy it, especially our elementary schools. These are our actions, our students in action. There's a whole list of the student workers we have this summer, and I'll tell you, these guys and gals that work with our maintenance and our custodians, one, I think they have a lot of fun when you talk to them. But the other thing, they build a really great relationship with our guys and gals that are doing the maintenance work. It's kind of fun to watch them. And then when they go into the school year, you see this interaction continuing. So I think it's a great program for us. And we just got a picture of each and every one of them. I won't go through the list. The second one from the right, though, with the cleaning machine. She's often up in our district office. I think her dad works with us, and so that's one of our people. What a nice student coming by. Here's a couple more students. You can see they pretty much are doing everything that, even we put a paintbrush in one down there. And here's a big thank you to all of them. And really, I think we have found over the years it's a great program for our students and for our staff. Want to give just a quick shout out to our online registration. Anybody out there watching on FOIA, we can now put online registration for all of our students. This will really help us with the paperwork and the efficiency of getting everything turned in. This is the first year it's been up and fully running. There's been quite a few kinks along the way, but I think Mauricio and his department has got it all pretty well tuned right now. And other than that, we are just looking forward to the next, about a week and actually 2 weeks until the first day of school. And, then finally our campuses will come back to life and get back to doing the business we're here for, and that's educating our students here in Valley Center. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And we'll move on to the educational services and the VCPUSD LCAP 2024-2025 clarification of items.
Great. Thank you, President Stroh, members of the board, Superintendent Cowan, district staff, administrators, and guests online. Tonight I'm going to just provide some information regarding the last steps of the approval process of our local control and accountability plan. The San Diego County Office of Education, we are required to submit our plan to them, and they review it based on these areas that are listed on the screen. For the most part, they're looking at not the content specifically, but are we meeting the state requirements? Are we following the template that's provided? Do our expenditures seem to add up and make sense, and things like that. So during this process, we kind of go back and forth with the County Office of Education, and maybe request changes or ask for clarifications on items and areas in our plan. I'm happy to share that we do not receive any required changes. Those are the ones we don't want. And working with the county, they did have some items for clarification, and those are the ones that I'm going to review with you tonight. So the first area of clarification was in the very beginning of our LCAP in a part called the annual update. This part of the LCAP reports on outcomes from the previous school year, and then there are prompts in the document that ask us to reflect and how do those reflections lead to actions and things that we're going to be doing for the following year. So we had one area that spoke about how we're supporting English learners in our district, and we looked at one specific aspect of the English learner population, which is a new metric that is being added by the state, are English learners who have had that designation for more than 5 years. The state now asks us to look at that student group and using the term long-term English learners, and really look carefully at why would a student be a long-term English learner in our districts? Are there additional supports that we need to be moving through? Are there things that we need to do to support that student maybe more so that they become reclassified in fluent English a little sooner? So we did have language related to LTELs in our LCAP, but there was a request for us to kind of just clarify how that, in the annual update, that reflection was as part of our LCAP for the coming year. So we provided the county with language going over our goal area 2, which is mostly academic actions for our district. And in there we highlighted the additional monitoring that takes place from our staff, additional training that will be taking place with our instructional staff, and curriculum that we've added for English learners. All of those things kind of accumulating to the supports that we have in place, not only for all English learners, but specifically to address the long-term English learner population in our district. The second area of clarification was for our priority metrics, which are the required elements for measuring progress that are designated by the state. The County Office of Education asked us to clarify 2 items. One was how we are monitoring parent participation of low-income families and foster youth. So in our LCAP, we do have language about monitoring how many parents attend back-to-school nights. And the county asked us to go ahead and maybe just go one step further on that and break that down now so that we're looking at not just overall, but how many families of low-income students are coming to back-to-school night as an example. And so we added those metrics into the LCAP, and we'll be monitoring those going into the next school year, and really looking at who's attending these events, who's attending learning nights, and are there things that we can kind of adjust or add to support those populations more, or meeting their needs. The other area, the other request in this area was under college and career readiness. So the county asked us to look at a data metric that we had listed, but in a slightly different way. So college and career readiness is a very complicated measure for the state, and a student can meet it by passing state tests and meeting A3G requirements, college prep courses. They can meet it by passing state tests and completing a CTE, or Career Technical Education program. And so we had those metrics in our LCAP, but there was a metric that is specifically students who are completing a CTE course pathway and meeting A3G requirements. So, this is kind of sometimes the way it works as we go through this process. So we did go ahead and add that metric into our LCAP, and we will monitor it. In addition to, in isolation, we'll monitor it as kind of a collective. So we've got the individuals who did this and who did this, and now we'll look at who did both. So that was the last of the actual real concrete clarifications that we added. There was some additional minor language changes and corrections. Luckily, I'm not in charge of numbers when it comes to the LCAP, so we didn't have to worry about my math on that one. But if for anybody who knows me, sometimes I might miss a period here or there, or a comma, or things like that. So there were some minor language changes. All clarifications that were done were considered minor, so there was nothing that changed or had a substantial change of the content of the LCAP itself. So it does not require any readoption or additional approval on your part this evening. It would just be if you have any questions, and then probably in the coming days, we will hear back from the county that our LCAP has officially been approved, and that we're ready to move forward.
Thank you for that report and explaining all that information. Questions, any other questions? Okay, we'll move forward into Proposition 28, Arts and Music in Schools Annual Report 2023-2024.
So some of you may be familiar with Proposition 28. This is the Arts and Music in Schools Funding Guarantee and Accountability Act. So I'm not going to speak to it in a great detail tonight, but essentially this is funds that were allocated throughout the state of California based on voter action for new programs in arts and music in our schools. So it can't be used to pay for something that we already have in place. It can only be done new things and additional things. Part of the act was that annually the board is presented with a report that just speaks to how those funds were used for the previous year. And so that's what you've been provided with tonight, and that's what you'll take action on tonight. In our next board meeting, our Director of Curriculum and Instruction, Stephanie McIntyre, is actually going to do a presentation where she'll go over in much more detail what's taking place in our schools and how those funds are being used coming into the coming school year. I'm not going to answer any questions.
No, but Stephanie will be giving, I want to make sure I understand, so she'll be giving that.
She'll be giving the details of here's the program. Tonight, this is just a report primarily based on the funds and how they were used in the previous year.
Okay. So we will move forward into, do I have a motion?
A motion.
Okay, and a second? All right, motion and second, any further discussion? Already that? Okay, let's vote. Member Benjamin is absent, Member Caputo?
Aye.
Member Cole Senior?
Aye.
Member Worthy? Aye. And Member Stowe votes aye. Moving into pupil personnel readmission of student number 2022-2023-CA03. Do I have a motion?
A motion.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Being none, we will vote. Member Benjamin is absent. Member Caputo?
The only correction is there was an S, not a C on the.
What?
You said C, or instead of S. A, O, 3.
Oh, okay.
Aye.
That correction. Got it. Okay, Member Culp Senior?
Aye.
Member Worthy?
Aye.
Member Stowe votes aye. Moving on to our business section. Support for eligibility, determination, and funding in the school facility program. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
And do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Let's vote. Member Benjamin is absent. Member Caputo.
Aye.
Member Kolb Senior. Member Worthy.
Aye.
And Member Stroh votes aye. Human Resources, variable term waiver request for, Feshma, is it, how do I pronounce the last word? Do you have that? I wanna say it correctly. Kazray, okay, district school nurse or nurse. Do I have a motion?
A motion.
A second?
I'll second.
And any further discussion? Not you here. Voting, Member Benjamin is absent. Member Caputo,
Aye.
Member Culp Senior,
Aye.
Member Worthy,
Aye.
Member Stowe votes aye. Establishment of VCPUSD's professional experience requirement for TK teachers pursuant to California Ed Code. And is that little signature section? Okay. Section 4800 G 4B. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Voting, Member Benjamin is absent. Member Caputo?
Aye.
Member Cole Senior,
Aye.
Member Worthy,
Aye.
Member Stroh votes aye. Advanced planning, the next regular meeting is September 12th, 2024. Adjournment, we will go into adjournment for our meeting. Do I have a motion?
A motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
Need a second, any discussion? Moving forward to the vote, Member Benjamin is absent, Member Caputo,
Aye.
Member Cole Senior, Member Worthy,
Aye.
Member Stroh votes aye, and it is, what is it, 6:50? Meeting. 6:50, meeting is adjourned.